Today, we are talking about the most overrated player on every single team in Major League Baseball. If you guys want to see us go over the most underrated player for every team in Major League Baseball, make sure you leave a like on the video, and we will get that out to you later this week. James, we're starting off in the National League East. Let's start off with our favorite team, the New York Mets. Who do you got?
I hate myself for this pick, but it might be Pete Alonso. We're working on
Whoa!
a few years now where he's been just a really good hitter, not a really great hitter. I told you I hate myself for the pick. I hate myself for it.
I
I
kind of
couldn't
hate
I
you
couldn't
too.
couldn't think of another one.
I was going with Kodai Senga, just because I think because
Okay.
he's got the low ERA, because like you can kind of do like the stupid stats, and if you don't watch every single game, you would think Kodai Senga is having a Cy Young caliber season, but we just know that's not the case. Kodai is simply not the same player.
I think that's my problem of being too in close with the Mets. I already have Kodai Senga as the kind of suck bucket,
Yeah.
and that's it.
No, Pete Alonso, that one, I consider him as well, but I'm going Kodai, you're going Pete. All right, how about the team that we just absolutely dominated about a week ago, the Philadelphia Phillies? Who do you got for them?
I think Jesus Luzardo. I think people kind of perceive Jesus Luzardo as this guy who's kind of ace-like sometimes. He gets to go all these strikeout numbers, and you can kind of point to like a spot or a moment every game, a blow-up inning, 2 home runs that maybe are pitches he just missed. But we're on years and years of Luzardo as being one of the most inconsistent pitchers in baseball. So at some point, that's just kind of what you are.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see Jesus Luzardo going on there. I went with, I mean, it's probably more of a personal vendetta that more than anything, but the combination of Bryson Stott, Alec Boehm, both of them stink. Both of them don't really do much great, and I think they're losing their starting spots respectively on this Phillies team. I think the baseball world's starting to get hip to it now, especially more with Alec Boehm, now that we have 5 seasons of him being a contact merchant and terrible at third base. Those two guys on the Phillies are the two biggest that scream out to me. For the Atlanta Braves, another team that we absolutely despise, I'll get this one started. It's going to be Ozzy Albies. I mean, how many times do we have to see that this guy is a league average hitter at best? He can't field the position. He doesn't run the bases particularly well. There's not a lot good going on with Ozzy Albies. I know he's still young, and this is going to be my famous last words, but I got to bring back the oldest take in the book of mine that Ozzy Albies is arguably the most overrated player in baseball.
I listed Ozzy Albies too, and I think a big reason for that is he had a bad season last year. A lot of people were ready to give Ozzy Albies a lot of credit for bouncing back. Now he hasn't bounced back, and everything's actually gone in the wrong direction. His bat speed's down, his exit velocities are down. Everything looks much worse for Ozzy Albies than to the year ago. So I think it's just the point where we can never even expect that top end ceiling, another 30 home run season from Ozzy Albies.
With the Miami Marlins, a bit of a weird team because they're actually like kind of a little underrated right now. But for an overrated player, James, where are you going?
I want one who he hasn't had a good year, but he was so good last year that I think he got overrated. Now we may be more properly rated, but tough team to pick one. Xavier Edwards. I think that the Marlins had to move him off shortstop to second base, which really hurt his real life value, but also not really because he was so bad at defensive shortstop. That kind of helped. But this is like a 5 homer, 30 steal guy who you kind of hope just hits 270. That's on a good team. That's probably like your 10th man, you're a 9 hitter.
Okay, I went with a popular pick of people's favorites right now, Augustin Ramirez. I mean, he is a league average hitter this year. I know he hits the ball extremely hard, but he doesn't get on base. He is an absolute horrible catcher behind the plate. He is a glorified DH whose numbers are league average for hitting, who doesn't get on base. I don't get it just yet. I'm going to be proven wrong, I'm sure, but for a guy who's got like a, 720 OPS, I'm not really buying the crazy hype that he's getting right now.
So you're not a bat speed guy anymore, I take it.
No, I love bat speed, but Franchi
best in the league.
Cordero had all the bat speed in the world, and I just feel like I don't know how good Augustin Ramirez can be even with that bat speed.
I think Augustin Ramirez is a classic case of a player who's struggling so much in the field that once he actually stops trying to play catcher because he can't do it, I think you might see the bat go crazy. Also, just the fact that the fact he's going to be like a 15-20 steal guy, I think is really cool for a player of his archetype. Could be like a 30 homer. He could be a really good version of Franchi Cordero.
You know what he feels like to me? He feels like a better fantasy baseball player than a real life baseball player. Can I say that?
Yeah, you definitely can. But also, I think because the value is being murdered by catching. If you just made him a first baseman, I think now you have just a thumper with some speed.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm jury's still out in my books on Augustin Ramirez. You guys can let us know in the comment section. Now, for the Nationals, I'm going to be honest, James. I don't know who's overrated on this team. Like James Wood, Mackenzie Gore, CJ Abrams are all good.
No, the only thing I wrote for the Nationals here is the word gross, because the players who are good are kind of good enough, and I think they're adequately rated. And after that, this roster has literally nothing else to speak of.
Maybe you guys in the comment section can let us know who the most overrated player on the Nats is. I have a feeling people are going to say Dylan Cruz. What do you think the people will say?
I think Dylan Cruz is underrated. I think the people will say CJ Abrams, but I think CJ Abrams also is becoming underrated because of the way people have spun on him.
All right, I like that. You want to go to the American League next, or you want to keep it in the National League?
Let's go to the American League East after that. I think it's a more fun way to go. So American League East, have to start with the Yankees. Who is the most overrated player in the Yankees?
The Paisan himself, Mr. Shortstop, next Derek Jeter, Anthony Volpe. I mean, I think we're starting to understand that he is not the player that he was hyped up to be. But until Aaron Boone actually sits him and doesn't keep playing him and treating him like he's the next Derek Jeter, which he is so obviously not, the answer is only Anthony Volpe.
See, I couldn't even go with Anthony Volpe because he's so bad. How can he be overrated at this point?
That's fair.
Everyone knows how bad he is. It's national news how bad Anthony Volpe is. Anthony Volpe, in one series the Yankees played about a week and a half ago, he threw like 3 balls into the crowd. Like
So
he is
bad.
unbelievably bad. So I went a little bit more of a crazy pick here, and this is going to make people mad. I think it's Max Fried.
Oh, nice.
I think people anointed Max Fried as one of the best pitchers in baseball through the first half of the season. His ERA started with a 1, and that's just not the pitcher Max Fried is. Max Fried's a great pitcher. Max Fried is going to absolutely churn out ERAs in the low 3s, maybe stretch to the mid 3s because Yankee Stadium's a tough place to pitch. But that's just what he is. He probably is the 2 on a World Series team rather than the 1.
I do like that pick. He definitely has not been nearly as good in the second half as he was at the beginning, and we kind of always knew that was the case. For the Boston Red Sox, who do you got? I feel like they have a lot of choices-ish.
Kind of. The Red Sox are so weird. I feel like everyone in this team is just different because they're Red Sox. But for them specifically, I think it's Lucas Giolito. Lucas Giolito's on a heater right now. He's got that ERA touching down, getting near the low mid 3s. And I think people are like, wow, Lucas Giolito's back. This is the guy that competed for Cy Young Awards years ago. I don't think he's that good. Lucas Giolito is always only a few starts away from his next cataclysmic blow up, and the Red Sox better hope that doesn't come in a playoff series.
For me, I went with Trevor Story. I think that while he's been hot,
that's a good one.
His OPS is still like 730. Like
Doesn't
I can only hear how hot Trevor Story is for so long before I see the numbers change, and they haven't changed. He's up to a league average hitter. He's completely fine at shortstop. I think because this Red Sox team is a unit offensively, that he can be towards the bottom of the order and have value. But in the scheme of shortstops, when I've been talking to people on my previous videos, they think he's like in the realm of like, that upper echelon top 10 shortstop position.
True, because he is going to get close to a 30-30 season.
Yeah, counting numbers.
Sick.
Counting numbers, fantasy.
Yeah, that is. That's 30-30 is chill. You can't tell me it's not.
Fine. All right. I won't say it's not. How
Moving
about the Blue
on to
Jays?
the next one? Yes, I think we might be in agreement on this.
Yeah.
Andres Gimenez.
Ooh, whoa, I forgot about him.
There's no one in baseball that has a better PR team press circuit than Andres Gimenez. He makes $20 million a year. He is an abomination of a hitter. Tremendous defensive player. One absolutely, I think, bar none, the best defensive second baseman in the league. But with being the best defensive second baseman in the league, you just move to shortstop then. Like if Andres Gimenez was doing what he was doing as a hitter and while also playing shortstop instead of second, he could be something like Mason Wynn. At what he's doing right now, I just really cannot think that he's worth the price tag and the accolades that he gets.
Imagine how much better the Blue Jays defense would even be now if they put Jimenez at short and Bo Bichette at second. Two guys completely out of position. I was going to say Bo, but he's having a good year. I'm not going to say him this year. He's having a really nice season. I'm not going to say Anthony Santander because he's been hurt, even though he's stinking it up. I'm just going to go with Eric Lauer. I don't think he's a playoff pitcher, and I think they're probably going to pitch him in a playoff game.
I don't know if they will anymore because with Shane Bieber back, they've gone to a 6-man rotation. Lauer kind of mixed back in when they had like 15 games in 16 days, but I think he'll comfortably move to long relief.
Okay, if that's the case, then I mean, listen, Andres Gimenez is the pick. That was the right choice. I completely blanked him out of my mind.
That's an easy one. So next up, here's another one that I think is going to make you cringe. The most overrated player in the Orioles.
I know who
I have. Old man Adley Rutschman, Mr. AARP, 37-year-old Adley. We're working on 2 seasons of being a below average hitter. Ever since that home run derby in Seattle, something happened to Adley Rutschman where he has just not been the same high caliber kind of all league type of catcher, where I think in the lexicon of what people think about him, he is thought of in that way.
No, you're totally right. Adley is just a shell of himself. What's weird is he actually improved his bat speed this year. There was some stuff under the hood that got better, but he is not playing better by any means. And it's at the point now where the Orioles are probably going to look to shop him this offseason, which feels kind of crazy. You're not taking that yet?
I don't think there's any chance that happens.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens with them. But yeah, I do think it's Adley Rutschman pretty clearly for the Orioles. Last team in the AL East, the Tampa Bay Rays. This was a really tough one for me.
Me too.
I went Chandler Simpson just because I think like he's a fun player because he's so fast, but relatively speaking, I don't think he brings almost any value to a baseball team besides pinch running.
I agree with that. Chandler Simpson has done better to improve his defense in center field since getting sent down and being called back up. If he's an elite defensive center fielder while being this gimmick offensive player, I think then he is very valuable. But until he proves that over a larger sample, I agree with you. I went with Shane Baz, another one that hurt me because I still believe this is a guy I believe in long term, but now we're 2 full years removed from a Tommy John surgery, and he still just can't maintain some level of velocity through a start. He cannot find the command, consistency with his knuckle curveball. It just hasn't worked out well. I also think all the pitchers in this Rays team have gotten screwed this year by that ballpark.
Yes.
The most active wind in all of Major League Baseball, and the bandbox is modeled after Yankee Stadium. It's a real bad combination. I wonder what happens wherever they play next year with all of these guys.
Yeah, if Taj Bradley was still on this team, he'd also be one of my picks where it's like we're waiting for that
Perception.
breakout for these guys, but it's just not happening. At some point, is this the pitcher that they are? All right, moving it back to the National League. Let's go to the Central now. Starting it off with the Chicago Cubs. Actually had a difficult time with this one. I went with your namesake, James Dansby Swanson, just because he's a glove for a shortstop, and that's pretty much all he is. He's going to hit 20 home runs. Like, he's completely fine, but similarly, I don't know if he's, like, really that good. How much better is he than, like, Mason Wynn?
I mean, he's definitely a better hitter than Mason Wynn, because I was thinking about Mason Wynn for another one on here. He's such a good defender. I couldn't have put him for the other team. So, Cubs, I did another crazy one. I went PCA, Pete Crow Armstrong, because I think that the way PCA started the season, he was perceived as an MVP candidate. And while his WAR through like a 70-game sample did appear that way, he's just nowhere close to that kind of hitter still. We're working on about 2 straight months of PCA with like a 280 on-base percentage. It's still at a point where it's very, very glove-first profile, which is awesome. PCA is an amazing player. This is not me chastising PCA, but the way that people have viewed PCA, people came to me in my fantasy baseball channel this year when I ranked him still after 2 months as like the 19th ranked outfielder in the league. I was getting destroyed for this. I was like, guys, just wait another month. He still has many steps to go as a hitter before he can really be in the upper echelon of players I think people perceive him to be.
I think that's going to be the first one that's going to get people smashing their keyboard in absolute anger and fury. That's the windup for you. There we go. Pittsburgh Pirates. This one hurt me a lot. Did it hurt
me
you?
Too. So much.
It's O'Neal Cruz, right?
It's sadly O'Neal Cruz.
Yeah, I mean, at what point are we going to ever see him take a step forward? He has
on a different team.
Yeah, I guess that's it. Whenever he leaves Pittsburgh, he has so much power, yet has like 17 home runs. Can't really ever hit that 30 home run mark that kind of true elite power hitters can get to. Not even necessarily elite, but just good power hitters. His defense in center field has been better, but there's just like no true improvement. I know he's walking more, but he's still basically the same value that he's been for his entire career.
It's almost like he can't find consistency in energy, which is a crazy thing to say about a player like that. But seriously, because the way he swings sometimes kind of like he just takes these, he's willing to take an uncompetitive at bat. When you're a player who swings as hard as O'Neal Cruz, which is harder than any player in baseball can swing a bat besides Giancarlo Stanton, every single pitch you get should be like, I'm ready to do damage. And sometimes it seems like the lapses in concentration just get the best of him. And he can't sustain weeks and months, stack up good days in a row.
St. Louis Cardinals. I got a lot of picks on this team.
I weirdly couldn't really find a pick on this team because I think all the players who we might think are overrated, I think are now adequately rated as stinking. Like a guy like Nolan Arenado, it's over. Like we know that. Someone like Mason Wynn, we know it's all glove, no bat. Like that's where he is. Like Lars Nootbaar, another one we've been waiting for forever. We kind of just know who he is at this point. That's kind of where I got stuck.
Yeah, so Nootbaar was one of the names I put. The other name, though, that did jump out to me was Sonny Gray. I just don't think he's a frontline starter anymore. It's just...
I don't know about that. Disavow.
You disagree? I don't know, man. Like, it feels like he's just hovering around 4 ERA. Like, in St. Louis, it's a pitcher's park. I don't know how much else help he needs. He has good defense behind him, too.
Yeah.
Like, why can't he pitch well?
I still think that Sonny Gray is a guy that I'm definitely taking as like a 2-3 on a team I'm ready to go push for a World Series with, no doubt. But I don't think anyone thinks of him as an ace either.
I don't know. He's also like, I feel like he's never pitched in a big game either. Like, he's always just
True.
on losers.
Yeah, he winds up on bad teams. I mean, that's kind of part of the problem. But also, is that his fault?
Maybe not. So who'd you end up going with then?
Again, like I kind of got stuck in between all these guys.
Okay.
Maybe Nootbaar just because he still has maybe a little bit of that perception, but hard for me to pick one. I got a fun one for the Milwaukee Brewers. I'm curious where you went with that team.
The Brewers, I went with Jose Quintana. Just because I think that's us being in the Mets world
Mets
a little
pilled.
bit. I think I got Mets pilled. But, I mean, like, he's just not very good. He's not bad, but he's not very good. And if you see a 3 ERA, people are probably going to be, like, screaming from the roofs like they are in Mets world about how do we not sign Jose Quintana? How do we not sign him? Like, he's useful, but he's not a good pitcher, I would say.
No, I agree. I have another one that's going to probably get people really mad, especially the Brewers fans out there. Quinn Priester.
Ooh.
I think Quinn Priester, it's gotten over. He's a good pitcher. He's established himself as a good pitcher. He's become a ground ball king, which we love. But the kind of problem with Quinn Priester always was the fact that he didn't have a fastball he could rely on. The Brewers have helped him circumvent that this year with tons and tons of cutters. That's become a primary weapon for him. But at the same time, it just feels like this year's version of Tobias Meyer, something the Brewers are always able to do. Coax great out of pitchers that are just kind of back-end guys, mid-rotation guys. I think that I don't think that this is like the beginning of acedom for Quinn Priester. I think that when you look at the next 5 years of Quinn Priester, you might be like, wow, he went off in 2025.
Last team in the NL Central, Cincinnati Reds. Who you got, James?
Another one's going to piss off people.
No, you're not going to say it.
No, I'm not going to say that.
Oh, okay.
Niche. Andrew Abbott.
Oh, me too. Andrew Abbott. Hey.
I don't know why this guy's so good. If I think about a pitcher who gets like 10 percentage points higher than league average fly balls in one of the easiest parks to homer in all of baseball, if not the easiest, how do you continue to be this good? Like, he kind of is a bit of a pop-up merchant, which I don't know if either the Reds clicked something with getting pop-ups or he's going to get bad batted ball luck next year and have an ERA around 4.
Yeah, I truly don't know how he does it. He throws like a 90 poo fastball, and it looks so hittable. And it kind of is. It just people miss it. Another name I'd throw out there too, Tyler Stevenson. I know he deals with a lot of injuries, but he's just kind of never been anything great.
He's fine. I think Tyler Stevenson's draft capital hurt his perception as a baseball player because he's a fine major league player. Just never got close to being a star.
Correct. American League Central now. What team you want to start off with there, James?
Ooh, I want to start with the Cleveland Guardians.
Ooh,
this one might piss people off as well.
This is going to get the people clacking. Stephen Kwan.
It's so Stephen Kwan. Yeah. I had a friend who was a Guardians fan last year I went to college with telling me that Stephen Kwan was one of the 5 best outfielders in baseball. They said there was an argument for Stephen Kwan and guys like Juan Soto, and I was like, I think you should wait a few months because Stephen Kwan is like a 700 OPS guy who plays good corner outfield defense. As a fine player, he could be your 6-7 hitter on a championship team, but if you think Stephen Kwan's a star, which it felt like the national media thought during the trade deadline.
Dude, that was crazy.
I don't know what to say.
All the stuff coming out about what the Guardians wanted for him, like the Mets basically was like Jonah Tong. You're like, are you insane? These are the quality of prospects you guys want? Like, there's no shot. And again, this is not a knock to Stephen Kwan. He is a very good baseball player. But being considered in that elite level of outfielder is just blasphemy. And similarly to former Cleveland Guardian Andres Jimenez, if he's so good in the corner outfield, why can't he play center?
And that would also change the value. It would change the equation totally. If he was the same hitter as a center fielder, top 10 center fielder in the league.
Yes, of course.
No longer overrated.
If he keeps the defense, of course.
For sure. Next up, Kansas City Royals. Who'd you have?
Noah Cameron. He's kind of in that same boat of me as Andrew Abbott where I don't get it. And maybe this is just me not really paying too much attention, but I have no idea how Noah Cameron consistently gets as many outs as he does every game.
I'll say this to you. You might be a leftist. You might hate leftists.
I might. Well, I think I know what I hate. I think I hate soft-tossing lefties who pitch to contact.
Yeah, and of course, those are not the guys that always wind up with 15-year careers. Never.
No,
those
never.
Guys,
Never.
No. I like Noah Cameron. I thought that Noah Cameron was still a little too young to put on a list like this based on how he's done.
Fair.
I went with Seth Lugo. I think we're getting to a point where Seth Lugo has again become more famous than what he's done. He's having a bad couple of months. He had a hot start to the season. He's getting lit up by bad teams lately. I think that we could be getting to a point where Seth Lugo, where the 11 different pitch thing has worn out, the fastball velocity is dropping, the curveball doesn't get the same swings and misses. The Royals might be regretting that extension, that option of Seth Lugo in about a year or two.
Yeah, I don't hate that take at all. How about for the Minnesota Twins? That's a team that's filled with overrated guys, it feels like.
You're going to hate me for this one.
I think I had the same guy.
Royce Lewis, yeah.
It's
the same O'Neal Cruz conversation. It's at some point, if you want to be considered a good baseball player, you have to play a lot more good baseball. And that's kind of it.
Yeah, he's basically done his best in like short 30, 40 game samples. And anytime he's played over that amount of games, which is this year, he's looked horrible. He is significantly below league average across the board at everything.
And the hope was that once he got over the major injuries, the multiple ACL tears, it was like, cool, now we can actually get a clean bill of health. But actually what happens now, he just pulls his muscles every time he gets to third base. So again, it's not, I don't want to blame him. And I still objectively like Royce Lewis and root for him.
Yes.
It's just hard to think about where he's going to wind up in this league.
Doesn't feel like a franchise cornerstone like he was seen as a couple years ago.
No, sadly not. Tiger's up next. Who'd you got?
I mean, do people think Jack Flaherty's good?
I think they do. That's why he was my guy.
Okay, so then it's Jack Flaherty. And as we so eloquently said on our podcast, he's mega shit, dog. What do we call him? Mega dog shit?
Turbo dog shit.
Turbo dog shit. Yeah, he's bad.
He's very bad. The ERA is approaching 5. He can't find consistency with the fastball velocity or the breaking balls. At every point in his career, he's always been able to find one of those. Now he's got neither of them.
Yeah, he's just not a frontline starter, and he gets treated like that every single year. You've been a Jack Flaherty hater from day one.
Oh, staunch for my entire baseball watching life, thankfully.
And then we could just rip the Band-Aid off with the White Sox. There's basically nobody, but I'm going Mike Vassell. I just don't think he's that good of a reliever. I don't know. Sorry, Mike. That feels unfair to him.
I went with a teeny tiny bit more of a hipster pick just because I think this guy's been really hot recently, and now they're perceiving him as a cornerstone where I think there's still a lot of work to be done. Colson Montgomery. I think that Colson Montgomery has a chance to make more adjustments and be this kind of legitimately perennial all-star, like 4-win player year in, year out, but we need to see consistency with the swing and miss. Colson Montgomery right now is swinging and missing more than almost every player in baseball. While he's getting to the power, this could be the best stretch he has in the next 2 years, and the on-base percentage is still 280. I just don't know. I don't know how high how low a floor is. I know how the ceiling is, but I don't know how low this floor could get if he doesn't make those changes.
I could buy that 100%. Moving on to our last two divisions, back to the National League. We got the NL West. Let's go with the Los Angeles Dodgers first. I went with two guys, and I think this is Dodgers world loves these people. I think the rest of baseball might not consider them that good, but Tommy Edman and also Enrique Kike Hernandez. I think both those guys are just like, how do they keep finding their way into a major league lineup every day?
I went way more highbrow for this one. Edman, I know he's dealt with the ankle this year, and last year he was so good in the playoffs, so instrumental to their World Series run. I didn't have the heart to put him on here. I think Teoscar Hernandez is getting to that point because he's taken many steps back as a hitter this year. And Teoscar Hernandez is in that danger zone for players like Teoscar Hernandez who just take hacks where when you lose some of that athleticism, when you lose a bit of that bat-to-ball ability, foul off a few fewer of those very tough pitches that you could keep at-bats going where if the mistake and crush them, everything drops. That's kind of happening for him right now. If he can't even maintain a 300 on base percentage,
that's tough.
How good is he really?
Yeah, he was so good last year, and he has fallen off a cliff this season. Still a league average hitter, but still fallen off a cliff. For the San Diego Padres, I think we can say this one on the count of three, James. 1, 2, 3. Luis Arias. Yeah.
Most overrated player in baseball. It's not even close. Luis Arias should barely be considered a starter, let alone the two-hitter on a team that has World Series aspirations.
Yeah, it's crazy that if they just moved him down the order, they probably are an even better offensive team. Yes, he still does relatively get on base because he doesn't strike out. He puts the ball in play, hits for a high average, but I don't know, man. He has kind of really no value to me.
We've also now swung at the point where the Padres fans understand this, and we're getting cut-ups on Twitter every single day of Luis Arias at bats where he's just taking, and slapping a pitch, hitting a flare just so he doesn't strike out. Because he goes 50 plate appearances at a time between strikeouts, but then also just doesn't get extra base hits.
Hot take? Is that selfish?
Oh, for sure selfish.
That's selfish baseball, right?
That's you playing the way that you think that you're perceived your best thing. But at the same time, you might have to do some other things. It's kind of like what happened to Aaron Rodgers those last couple years to the Packers, where he was so obsessed with not throwing interceptions, but then you're just not taking enough chances to actually be a good quarterback.
Yeah, they need Luis Arias to wake up a little bit at the plate if they really want to have a shot. Arizona Diamondbacks, I had a tough time with this. I'm just going to go because I think nationally perceived, people still believe in Zach Gallen where I don't believe in him as much anymore.
Okay, I had that, but then I said not anymore because I think now he's gotten to the point where we're all consensus. No, he's probably not even a top 50 pitcher in the league at this point. Probably has a struggle stretching into the top 75. So I went with two other guys I think do still have a bit more of that national shine, and Brandon Pfaadt and Eduardo Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Rodriguez has been really ineffective, dealt with a lot of injury stuff, and Brandon Pfaadt had the major prospect shine, but just has never, ever, even for a moment as a major league pitcher, found one weapon to use against left-handed batters as a right-handed pitcher.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a little bit of me writing those guys off years ago, where I haven't thought about Brandon Pfaadt or Erod in years.
True, that's the fantasy baseball in me. But now, last two more teams this division. Who'd you have for the San Francisco Giants?
Patrick Bailey. I'm tired about hearing how good his defense is because he is legitimately one of the worst hitters in baseball. The guy swings a pool noodle. He doesn't hit the ball hard. His bat speed's horrible. He doesn't get on base. There's nothing good besides defense. And one of his major calling cards, framing, is going to be useless in a couple seasons. So I don't know what his value is as much.
Definitely. I actually had Patrick Bailey, but I figured you'd go with him. Also, something always pulls me away from calling a guy like Patrick Bailey overrated because you see how much his teammates ride for him.
Of course.
When he got that walk-off hit against the Phillies a month or two ago, it was uproarious. People were losing their minds.
Could that be because he was so bad at hitting?
Couldn't believe it, yeah. But then just to give up one of your 9 spots in the order every day for however good defense is tough. So I did Jung-Hoo Lee.
Ooh, he was someone I considered, but he actually had a higher OPS plus than I thought this year.
No, he's having a good season. He's above league average hitter, and he's a fine outfield defender. But I think that Jung-Hoo Lee was, again, perceived. This happens in baseball seasons when guys start hot or start cold. It completely just disrupts what their perception of them should be. Jung-Hoo Lee going ballistic in April made everyone be like, oh, this guy could be a step below the stars, where really he's just a step above the average players.
And he's getting paid like one of the top outfielders in baseball right now.
20 mil, yeah. Starling Marte money.
Yeah, Starling Marte money, exactly. One of the best outfielders in baseball. Last team, Colorado Rockies. Who'd you go with, James?
Mickey Moniak.
Sure, I went Brenton Doyle.
Yeah, at least Doyle plays good defense still.
This year, not. I mean, he's still good this year,
Not
but
as good, yeah.
there's a big drop. I think it's just one of those things where Brenton Doyle is a glove-first center fielder, and he probably can't.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
Oh, so I think he can hit enough. I think that also we get, especially us trying to dig into the stats a little bit more, WRC plus, weighted runs created plus, probably the best stat to evaluate a hitter, is broken for Colorado Rockies because the park adjustment, which WRC plus uses, is so extreme in Colorado that almost none of their hitters ever seem average.
Yes.
which kind of stinks. But now moving on, last division, the American League West, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Who'd you got?
One of my favorite fan bases out there, Logan O'Hoppe. He is someone who I think nationally they see that he hits home runs and he gets these big hits. But then you look at his slash line, you're like, oh, like well below league average hitter. And also he can't play the catcher position. I think Angels fans also love to give him this shine of like this young talent, this young prospect. He's been in the league for like 4 years. Like I think he's a veteran now, and I think we've seen what he is.
But did you hear that he uses the old school catcher stance, two knees up?
I actually forgot about that. Okay, I changed my pick.
I'm gonna piss you off with this one. At this point,
no,
Mike Trout's a bit overrated. He is. He just is. He's Mike. I still love Mike Trout. Mike Trout's still a good player. It's actually not true. I don't really love Mike Trout, but at this point, Mike Trout, the strikeouts are going up like a crazy rate. He's still maintaining the high on base percentage just because he takes tons of pitches now. He's become too passive. While also running a very high swing and miss rate. If he's a 25 homer DH, what do you got there?
Yeah, you got Augustine Ramirez then.
Yeah, I mean, Augustine Ramirez, 12 years older with a litany of more injuries on his ledger.
For the Seattle Mariners, who you got? Because this one was extremely difficult for me.
I thought this one was easy for me. Luis Castillo. Luis Castillo has tailed off in a way that seems like, unless there's some changes that happen with him, and I believe there could be because he's one of these pitchers who always happens to find a way, but he's losing the swing and miss on his slider. He's lost the swing and miss on his changeup. He's rapidly losing fastball velocity. I don't know how Luis Castillo pulls himself out of a hole to become like a low threes guy anymore. But I think Luis Castillo will now have many more years of being like a 3.6 to 4.0 guy.
Yeah, maybe it's because we talk so much that Luis Castillo went out of my mind. I forced myself to pick Jorge Polanco, where I'm like, I don't know, he's probably just a fine player, although a lot of teams in baseball probably would have liked Jorge Polanco in their lineup this year. I truly don't know if there's a really overrated player on the Mariners roster right now.
Well, I don't know either. Now, here's another team I struggle with. I struggle with this division probably more than any of the others. The Houston Astros.
I had an easy one.
Who?
Jeremy Pena.
Oh, I vehemently disagree with you.
I think that nothing has changed under the hood from last season. Look at the numbers. They're almost identical under the hood. The bat speed isn't any different. The swing and miss rate isn't any different. Like, all the stuff is pretty much the same, except this year he's hitting a lot better. Now, I'll tell you this. He's pulling the baseball more. That is one legitimate change. We know in that ballpark it matters. But Jeremy Pena is not a top 20 player in baseball, and I do think that Astros fans think because of how much he's carrying this team, he's in that conversation as one of the best of the best.
Okay, I think you just might be Twitter-pilled on that one. Because I think Jeremy Pena, in the worlds that I live in baseball media, is underrated. I don't think people are talking enough about it. Jeremy Pena is going to be a 5-6 win player, a 2020 guy who still missed 3 weeks of the season. Even for the rest of his career, if he can maintain something between this year's OPS and last year's OPS, which with the elite defensive shortstop that he's always proven to play, I think Jeremy Pena is a very good baseball player. That's why I went with, weirdly for this one, just again, I didn't want to make this pick, but I just have to with the roster. I guess Jose Altuve, just because he is falling off in every direction, but he still gets the counting stats from those pulled fly balls that the Astros are so good at coaching up with these guys. Like, I thought a similar thing about Isaac Paredes, but also he just hit really well when he was healthy in that ballpark, so I couldn't give it to him. Altuve is he's going from the class of superstars to the class of very good. So that to me makes me think teeny bit overrated in the public eye.
Yeah, maybe I am Twitter pilled a little bit, but also that's where the people are. That's where the fans are. That's what we got to hear for the Athletics of Sacramento. Who do you got, James?
Another one. Very difficult for me because I just didn't have like purely overrated guys. Like, I went with Luis Severino as like my instinctual pick, but also because he sucks this year, I felt uncomfortable putting him there. But I think based on the money he got and the way, especially the Mets fans still talk about Luis Severino, I think people believe that there's still a high-end upside Severino where really he's kind of just an innings eater at this point.
Yeah, this one hurt because I like the player and I like the dude, Lawrence Butler. He just had such a major disappointing season. I think everybody in the baseball world was like, this is going to be the breakout year for him in a more hitter-friendly ballpark. We saw changes to his game last year that were really, we thought, sticky, but this year he's striking out more, walking less, swinging and missing more. He's had a miserable season out there.
He's also had some miserable things happen to him lately. He just didn't run out of pop-up last week on a ball that bounced back into fair play, got doubled up. It was kind of gross looking. He had a weird play in the outfield too. Like, it's just he seems to be letting his struggles wear on him. Where at the same time, he's going to be a 2020 guy with like a 715 OPS.
Sure, yeah, fantasy value.
Yeah, for sure. And also still a good defender in the outfield. I think that Lawrence Butler could still be a season away from good things happening.
And they're also playing him in center, which I don't think that's the right position for him either. That's a weird
difficult
place
for him. But he's still finding a way to be tolerable there, which I think is important for his value.
Last team, Texas Rangers. Drum roll, please. James, who do you got?
Another one I struggled with. I couldn't really find the overrated guy. Adolis Garcia, I guess, because I think people still remember the heroics from the World Series run 2023, but everything under the hood has trended way the wrong direction. Like, it seems like he was just a classic, hit the peak, and now back down the mountain.
I went Josh Young, which hurts me because I'm a Josh Young guy, but
been heating up.
He's kind of like a league
Yeah.
average hitter who gets hurt every single season.
Yeah.
The best season of his career was his rookie year, and everything else from there has been downhill. So I think he's probably just he might not ever be better than he was as a rookie, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, good chance of that.
All right, that's it. Most overrated player for every team in Major League Baseball. Guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Brand new thing over here with me and James. There's going to be a lot of content coming out. So make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss out on it. Drop a like on the video so you can see the most underrated players from every single team. And let us know in the comment section any other kind of content you want to see. We do appreciate you guys. We'll be replying in the comments after we upload this. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting. We'll catch you all in the next video. Peace out.